Hello guys, Jerry speaking. Welcome to LJPCBM episode 1542. Today we're back into Purple Roads podcast episode number 102. Noami Wilkinson, television presenter. I don't know where that came from, but that's just me. But yeah, let's begin in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Hang on.
I'm Carrie Stinson, and my journey through life has been quite an adventure. For over 20 years, I played Barney the Dinosaur on tour, and 7 seasons of the hugely popular TV show, Barney and Friends. Now my journey is to bring together friends and guests from all over the entertainment world for inspiring and at times amusing behind-the-scenes conversation. I'm Carrie Stinson, and this is Purple Roads.
Wow.
Purple Roads fans, my name is Carrie Stinson, and as always, I'm thrilled you're here. This is going to be so much fun, and I know I say that every week, but I go to all these different places, and I'm going back in time a little bit with someone I worked with a long time ago, and I am so thrilled to have her here. And this is someone you've been asking for, and so this is just get ready.
I'll be right back. I'm back, folks. Sorry about that. I was just plugging in my iPad. I was just checking to make sure my iPad is charging. Let's continue on.
This is going to be so much fun.
Wow.
This is Noami Wilkinson, who is with Milkshake. She's a children's television presenter. I could go on and on about all the things that she has done, so we're just going to let her do that. And Noami, how are you?
Hey, Carrie. Oh, this is very exciting for me, I must admit. I've only done a couple of podcasts and never won across the pond, so this is great.
Well, I've done a couple like this, and it's so
wow.
much. We had Emma Wiggle. You know, the Wiggles. I've had her on, and I've had Splash from Canada on, and so we've done a few of these, but this is just really exciting.
Wow.
I feel like I need to get up and do the Dino Dance.
Well, I know. What is it? 20 years ago, I was trying to add it up when I came over to Dallas.
You know, when I saw the Dino Dance, it was very catchy to me, but it was like, wow. Continue on.
For one of the most exciting moments of my career, to come and stand in the Barney studio and, do the Dino Dance with you lot, and it was, wow. Because Milkshake studio that I was in at the time was tiny little cupboard. They literally call it a broom cupboard telly over here in the UK. Because we were just in this little tiny studio, and then all of a sudden that Barney studio was massive.
Wow.
I just remember it being vast. It was huge. And coming in to do the Dino Dance with you was great.
Wow. Yeah, because you were on our big set on the park.
Yeah. Is that as the biggest it got? I don't know. It was huge.
We had 3 sets.
Right.
So we had inside the train, and then the park, which is where we were doing the Dino Dance. And I'm telling you, the memories were just flowing.
Wow, Carrie.
Because Baby Bob and BJ were there as well. I got to meet the 3 of you, which was great. But it's always a bit overwhelming, I think, when you go into a television studio, especially if you're not on talkback, and you're not hearing the gallery. Whereas if it's your show, you're kind of hearing everything. Right. When you're a guest, you're sometimes a little bit alien to the environment, aren't you? And kept a bit away.
Wow.
So I wasn't quite sure what's going on behind the scenes, and you don't see the people in the gallery, do you? And so it was all a bit overwhelming. I remember feeling a bit overwhelmed.
Well, and that studio was in Carrollton, Texas, which is very close to Dallas, and it was a warehouse, so no one knew what was there. Everyone that was just driving by every day just thought it was a furniture warehouse, having no clue that
had they have known
what was there.
Yeah, you'd have had kids queuing, wouldn't you, for miles if they'd have known.
Right,
wow.
And then everything was there, all the production, all the wardrobe.
Wow, okay, I'll be right back. Stand by. I'm back, folks. Sorry about that. I just have to mess with my eyes and personally and just get some water and just don't worry about it. Let's continue on.
Everything was in that building.
Yeah, I got taken on a lovely tour your kind producers took us all, you know, it was a tiny little team we came over with, and we got a lovely tour of the studios, and yeah, I just couldn't get over the size of this production.
Wow.
It was epic. But I remember, because Barney's so popular, and it was
Wow.
when we showed it on Milkshake, we did a shopping centre tour over here with Barney. So we went, you call them shopping malls, do you?
Right, we do.
Big centres with all your favourite shops.
Wow.
And it was me and Barney and a few dancers, and we were just going to go and do a few of Barney's most popular songs, a little kind of half-hour show.
Right.
And
Wow.
it had so many children attending, all of them, but the one in near Birmingham, we got closed down halfway through because security couldn't handle the amount of kids that had come to see Barney. And I think Take That, I don't know if you know Take That,
I do.
band over
I
here,
do.
okay. They'd performed at this shopping centre and not had nearly as many people, so we were like, yeah, Barney.
Wow.
So I remember that vividly, how popular Barney was.
Well, we did that in America so many times. I
Wow.
was telling a story the other day of performing a 30-minute show like you're talking about,
Yeah.
but with just Barney only in front of
Right.
16,000 people for 3 shows. So 16,000 3 times in Minnesota. It's
Wow.
an incredible thing that
Yeah.
I was ever part of. So
Wow.
Well, they were such good songs as well, weren't they? I remember the actions that went. I can still remember. It's like, "Hey, Mr. Knickerbocker," all those that
Wow.
we did, and
I
you
like
see all the children doing all the that's it, all the routines, and it was lovely to see that.
yeah,
It just
that
worked.
was the coolest things is that relating to kids, you know, and them participating and all of that was so great. I'm telling you, I'm sitting here right now wanting to shake my tail with that dinosaur.
Oh.
That was such a fun song, and seeing that, right? How can you not smile when you're watching that?
Yeah,
I
exactly.
know. Do you still do any Barney things? Do you still?
So you're gonna laugh. The last thing I did was actually, I think, about 2 years ago.
Wow.
And I hadn't done anything for 8 years.
Now it's been nearly over 5 years ago as I'm tearing this LJPCBM from. Continue on.
Wow.
And so everyone was a little nervous. My girlfriend at the time, who is now my wife, and my mother were like, I mean, do you think that's a good idea? And I was like, yes, I have to do it.
I want to do
I
it.
have to do it. It's just who I am.
Yeah.
And I was able to full out go do it. It was a
Like riding a bike.
Might have been a little store a little bit later.
Wow.
There's nothing like, for me going in front of kids and adults and singing that "I Love You" song.
Oh.
Wow.
And the reaction. Do you know who Christine Baranski is?
No, I don't. I'm afraid.
She's a very popular actor in America.
Right.
Wow.
Broadway, you name it.
Oh, I'm sorry, Christina. I should know you. I'm so sorry. I'm gonna look you straight up.
She was the host of this thing. And so we were doing rehearsals, and I came out in full costume.
Wow.
And she just came up to me immediately and was hugging me and all of that. And that's what Barney does.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like, he just brings that reaction. So.
Well, and I think also, that we have this shared, it's been quite a long time of doing this. I think I've been 23 years, and I'm finding that all those kids who grew up with you, they're now quite a little bit older. So I've got kids who are now at university over here, or they're working, saying, "Oh, I grew up with you, and I remember those shows." And I think those fond memories from watching things that you loved as a child just stay, don't they? They just...
Hold on. Is my Noami Wilkinson still alive? Let me see. No, she was an illustrator. Yeah, she's still alive. 48 years old. Right now, as I'm taping this episode of LJPCBM, she's from Bristol, United Kingdom. Oh, wow. Born June... Really? June 30th, 1974. Wow. Yeah, as he said earlier, he's the host of Milkshake. Wow. I did not know that, but okay. which I didn't know that, okay? And the former ones is Beyblade, which I didn't know. And launched in 1997, okay? Okay, continue on.
Remain really in a nice place in your heart.
Well, they do, and
Feel very lucky
it's
to
been
be
one of the
part.
coolest things, right? And I know you're experiencing that when there's a point when you're watching children's TV, you probably get to 10, 12, 14, and you're a little embarrassed by it. But then you become an adult and you just remember, oh my gosh, it was so great, and you taught me all these things, and I had so much fun, and
Yeah.
it's just so cool.
Yeah, there's not many adults that you set off talking
Exactly.
about their
Exactly.
favourite children's programmes, that it doesn't just become a blah, 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 I love that one and that one and that one and that one and all these memories. So I think most people have really nice memories of what they watched as a kid.
I think so too. I get letters now. Now I get it. I didn't like Barney when I was younger, but now I get what you were doing.
Oh,
I get the message.
wow.
Yes. You're just teaching love and good and happiness, and
Oh,
I think,
Wow.
and I don't know if you've ever run into this, that because we're very happy people. When you're in this industry, you have to be, right. You're upbeat, you're happy, and you love people, and you just want to do good. And I think some people look at that and go, it can't be real. Like that.
Yeah. Oh, totally.
Exactly.
Yeah, they definitely do. They think that the camera switches off and you become some complete grumpy, miserable
Wow.
idiot. It's not
Totally.
true, is it?
No. I can remember, you coming over there, and it was like perfect. I mean, you're not faking it. You're having fun. You're just
Oh my
Exactly.
goodness! I think because I always danced as a child as well, so to get to do any dancing on telly always makes me really happy. So to come and dance with a character like Barney was, mega.
Wow.
And I gotta ask, you know who Mr. Motivator is, right?
Yeah, of course.
He's been on this show.
No.
Yeah, I had gone over there. Barney had gone over to England. Oh my gosh! I mean, that had to have been early '90s. Danced with Mr. Motivator.
In this children's show channel, which I talk about on my Boy Jokes episode of Boy Web New York City, which is good enough. Continue on.
And the same thing. He's one of those that is always upbeat at all.
Yeah, and he looks exactly the same. So I met him, I think, first in 1999, and I did a workout with him for a telly programme. And then I met him 2 summers ago, I think it was. And he was still in his Lycra, and he looked as fit, as healthy, as enthusiastic. His energy level's the same. He's amazing. I love him. What a guy.
Well, I just think that's what all this is. But I brought you on here because I want to talk about you. I want to talk about all the things you're doing. And I knew we would have to reminisce a little bit. But I want to really know, to start off, where did this come from? Because it's really interesting to me. Everyone that's been on this show, almost all of them didn't start out in kids TV, but they ended up in it, and they absolutely loved it. Like, it changed their life, and it just means everything to them. What was it for you? What got you into kids TV?
I was kind of the opposite way around. I grew up just loving children's telly. I loved watching it, way older than I probably should have been carrying on watching it. And I just knew that I wanted to be a children's telly presenter, because we've got a show over here called Blue Peter that's a real flagship programme. And those presenters always used to get to do really exciting, daring adventures, as well as a lot of creative things like art makes and music related things and sport events, and it was just the kind of show where you could do all sorts of activities. And so I think a lot of us over in the UK grew up wanting to be a Blue Peter presenter, and that was definitely my dream. So I think all through school I knew it's what I wanted to do, either that or be a dancer if I could. And I just kept chasing it, and kept sort of asking people that I met what I needed to do to try and reach that goal, and got the advice as I went along, thankfully, of who were the right people to write to and to make a show reel, to send off to producers and things. And thankfully, I did write a lot of letters. I sent off a lot of tapes. But thankfully I got lucky and got a job on a digital channel then back in 1999, and then thankfully it's just kept going since.
Well, and that's interesting, and I love that because we have a lot of people that watch this that want to get into the business, and it never happens immediately, right? All of us had to do a lot to get
a lot of hard work,
right?
Yeah, and I think you've got to be persistent. I think if you really believe you've got the skills to do the job, be persistent, and I think it can happen. It's just being in the right place at the right time, I think, often.
Yeah, I'm really interested because you're a presenter, which I guess we would call it a host here.
Host here.
Of a show.
Makes sense.
But really, if you look at what you're doing, I mean, it's acting. Yes, it's a host, but you're also singing, you're dancing, you're doing stunts. You have to. I mean, you basically have to do everything. I mean,
we're dressing up.
Whatever comes your way, you just jump in. Are you picking some of that stuff as you go, or did you train for some of this beforehand?
I think a lot of it has come my way. I've been very lucky. Sort of, it's kind of stepping stones. I've done that, and that's led on to doing that. And I think it's happened like that for me, thankfully. But I'd never turned down a challenge, and I don't think I've often said no to a job because I love children's telly. So whatever's come my way, I've normally said yes, please. I'd love to try and do that. And it has been a lot of acting. There's been a lot of wearing costumes and playing parts. But last year I did my first part in an actual children's drama over here. So Julia Donaldson, who wrote, do you know the book The Gruffalo? Do you have those children's books over here? Okay, she's a big famous author over here, and a lot of her books have been turned into TV adaptations. And they did another one last year called Princess Mirabelle that I was part of. So that was my first actual drama that I was in, so that was fun. Quite a different experience. Is
that one of the keys of mixing it up, so that you, maybe for you as well, right? For me, I did the tour, but then I went and did the TV show. I did a lot of, even though I played Barney for 22 years, I did a lot of different things with that. Did stunt, can you roller skate? Sure, I can, and I learned all those things, and I think that kept it fresh for me. Is that part that works for you?
Yeah, I think every time you have a new challenge. So when I'd done Milkshake for 10 years, and then I moved to work at Children's BBC, CBBC, so that's, the children's channel that's on the BBC network. They then asked me to start doing wildlife programmes. And up until that point, all I'd done was singing and dancing for very little children. And then all of a sudden I was being sent off around the world to go and meet really dangerous snakes and sharks and crocodiles and things. And it was totally out of my comfort zone. But it was
like Steve Iyer, for example. Continue on.
Those experiences. And I think it is about challenging yourself, isn't it? It's not fearing the things that you don't know, just taking that leap of faith. If the opportunity comes your way, grab it, have a go. What's the worst that can happen? Well, you can get eaten by a crocodile, but...
Right.
Wow.
Well, you got me wanting to know now. I mean, have you had any situations with these animals that was, a little hairy?
We had one. We did a live Saturday morning show. It was all children, animals, adventure, action. And we did have a very big snake on it, a big anaconda one Saturday morning, and it did bite the other host of the show about 5 minutes into our live 1 hour programme. So we quickly threw to a video that played. We got the snake disconnected from him. He wrapped him up, bandaged his hand up, and he just was an absolute trooper and plowed on with the rest of the programme. But that was one of my hairiest live TV moments, where it was for a moment we were like, oh my word, what are we going to do?
Oh my gosh, we did, so we're out in Fort Worth, Texas. I'm in Fort Worth now, Fort Worth, Texas, which is close to Dallas.
Yeah.
And when I was doing the Bernie days, we would go to Fort Worth a lot, and we did a photo book in Fort Worth at the zoo. And at the end, they brought out this huge snake. Can we get a picture with you guys with it? So it's Baby Bop, BJ, and Barney, and they have wrapped this snake around all three of us. And so the whole cast, the crew gets in so we can get this picture. And the snake starts working into BJ's mouth.
Wow.
No way. No way. What did you do?
I'm laughing because it's not me.
Yeah, because it's not your mouth.
Yeah.
Scared crap out of BJ.
And he's kind of not wanting to move. You know, could someone please help me here?
I wonder what video it was. Continue on.
They got the picture. They quickly, you know, this was not going to be, obviously, they don't put us a dangerous snake.
Yeah,
Right.
pythons.
Right, but Baby Bop and Barney were laughing their heads off. BJ
Oh
didn't
my
think it was as
goodness.
funny as we
Oh,
did.
is this one of the outtake videos? I don't know. Continue on.
Yeah, they can be. They can. I mean, animals, working with animals, where people say don't work with animals and children, I say do both because I think both are so unpredictable.
Right.
It's what makes it really fun because you never really know what's going to happen. Like we've had animals weeing on stage or, you know, at big events, you know, or misbehaving, not flying when you need them to, or, you know, just generally never. The one thing we wanted the animal to display this certain behaviour or something, it just guarantee it wouldn't want to do it when you try and film it doing it.
Right. Well, we've done it on that big set you were on. We brought elephants.
Did you?
Oh, yeah.
This elephant goes bark. I don't know. Continue on.
We had an elephant on there. We had, I know we had horses. You know, sometimes it was turtles. We had a dog that was on, you know, once again, don't work with kids. And I'm with you on the same thing because of the unpredictability. Is sometimes we had a dog all the time, and you know sometimes it hit a spot and sometimes it didn't.
Yeah.
Wow.
You know,
Wow.
It's the same thing with kids as well, right? I mean, you know, sometimes.
Well, you had that. You had a lot. There's a few series I've done where I've worked with children, but not in the same way as you, where you needed them to say lines and deliver the right thing at the right time, didn't you? I suppose with your show.
Right, but if they don't do what they're supposed to do, you just go with it.
Yeah.
Because, you know, sometimes that's the take. And you're doing mostly live TV, or is it recorded, or is it a mix of both?
A mix of both. Most of what I've done over the years has been live, and I absolutely love live TV because you never know what's going to happen. It does make it really exciting.
Yeah.
We were doing a show just last week, and I just you never fail when that theme tune starts to play to get that real adrenaline spike.
Okay.
I'm just still getting a little bit nervous, but in a really lovely way, not in a sort of I can't carry on.
No.
Really lovely.
Well, that's important, right? If you don't get nervous, it's almost like you're, you know, now it's a job, right? And you're just going through the motion.
Yeah. I think that's right.
I had to learn at a very young age, and I talk a lot about this on this show, because I wasn't looking to get into kids' entertainment. That wasn't, I was open to it, but that wasn't my plan when I got, you know, hey, you need to go talk to this lady, and I auditioned for that that incredible purple dinosaur.
Wow.
But I learned very quickly there's a responsibility to doing this. And I understand as a performer, there's a responsibility.
Wow.
But with kids, you know, that purple dinosaur was real.
Yes.
And those messages and the things. So, you know, I always had to make sure, you know, you're always happy. You give everything you got. There's just a responsibility there.
Yeah.
When did you kind of learn that? And what does that do for you? Is it make you prep more? Where does that go with you?
I always do a load of prep. I hate not being prepared for what I'm doing. I'll always learn my script, know what's going to be expected of me, try and provide the right outfit that's going to work for whatever activity I'm going to have to do. I'll always take a lot of care in what I do. I like to think of myself as a professional in that way. And yes, I've always felt that great sense of responsibility that if you've got young children watching you and possibly copying you because they like your shows, you do have a huge responsibility to try and behave in a good way that, that they wouldn't do anything that you wouldn't want them to copy.
Right. But you also know, like, and it's probably the hardest thing, right, is that, you know, in our own personal lives, we have things go on, right? There's, you know, we go through emotions, but you have to let that all aside, right? When you go, all of a sudden, because they're not coming to see me, they're coming to see Barney. So
yes,
you know.
And I think I think I've been very lucky. I think within children's television, it's not quite as huge in terms of celebrity over here. My life carries on pretty much the same without too much sort of intrusion. I think if I did anything really bad, then I think the press would be interested. But I can keep my life going pretty normally without too much interference in that sense. And that's been lovely. So I've been able to do a job that I love, but without having to deal with the things that I see a lot of celebrities having to deal with. And
yes.
I'm very thankful for that.
Well, I know you've had the opportunity, like I did, to get out to meet the fans.
Yes.
Yeah.
What are those experiences like? 'Cause I presume you've done hospital visits and
Yes.
a little bit of all of that.
Yeah, we do pantomimes over here. I don't think you do pantos in the US. This is a Christmas show.
Okay.
And it's very British tradition. It's completely bonkers. If you came to see one, you probably wouldn't know what's going on. There's a lot of audience interaction.
I'll be right back. I'm back, folks. Pretend you didn't see that, but continue on.
So British audiences know exactly what to shout at what moments within these plays. It's stories. It's like fairy tales, like Cinderella, Snow White, Aladdin, things like that. But yes, it's for all the family, and there's songs and dances and everything. But that's always a lovely time of year at Christmas when the audiences come to see the panto, and then you get to meet a lot of them afterwards.
Yes.
That's a part of the year I love. We did a show over here called Marrying Mum and Dad for CBBC. We've done 7 series of it, and that's children planning their parents' weddings. Yeah, it is completely crazy. They choose the theme, the outfits, the venue, the food, or the cake, and the transport. And so that's been lovely. So every series we've met a lot of children, a lot of families who, have talked about the programs that we've done, and you get to sort of share experiences there.
Wow.
I need to hear more about this then.
It's truly as mad as it sounds. Yeah. So the children normally it's a family where the mum and dad haven't, for whatever reason, got married, or dad and dad or mum and mum haven't got married. And have had children for one reason or another. That's not been their biggest priority. And their children have decided they would like them to get married, and sort of check with them if they can apply to be on the programme. And then if the parents say yes, then they send in their application and what their theme choice would be, and then go through a casting process and choose the families to get married on the programme.
Wow. But the kids, they choose everything, like the
Yeah. So they so they choose the theme, and then they kind of work backwards from that and figure out what they'd like their parents to wear, or
We'll just figure out those clothes, joking, continue on. Anyway.
Yeah, where they want it to be, how they get to the wedding, all that. So we've had superhero weddings, we've had a haunted house one, we did dinosaurs, we've done
like Jurassic Park, continue on. Anyway.
All sorts you can imagine, underwater.
See, and those are the things I think is just fascinating. I go, wow, I love that. That's wonderful.
Wow.
I mean, for you, that's got to be, you've got to be on your toes the whole time.
Yeah, that's been fun. There was me and Ed, 2 hosts of that show, and we work with the children to sort of get all their ideas in place and help them prepare the big day. So that's been lovely. So we've sort of been there to slightly steer them so it doesn't just go too off on a tangent or do something that would freak their parents out, that would just make it a terrible day. I mean, sometimes they like to do things that have really challenged their parents, like if they're scared of spiders, they've had to go and rescue the wedding ring out of a little thing with a big spider in it, or they've had to do a big abseil if they're afraid of heights, or we've sometimes set them challenges to
I'm afraid of heights!
test their nerves. But it's been great. It's a lovely heart, that show.
That is something that I will have to watch a clip of this.
Well, yeah, we were going to make another series, and then COVID happened, so obviously it was a bit difficult to have weddings with the whole pandemic. So we're hoping that maybe one day, once it clears up enough, we can make another series of that, maybe.
Well, that's a great transition because I'm curious. We talk a lot about that, obviously, the pandemic. How was it for you? How did you keep going? Were you involved? Talking about Mr. Motivator, he just went online and started doing his show. I mean, he just kept going. So
He was
what
so
if
good.
it's crazy? I know he's got his wife involved now too. She's dancing.
Yeah, she's there too.
She's working out. It's great.
Wow.
So what have you been doing through all of that?
Oh yeah, it was difficult. I struggled like everybody else. I was recording, I guess we all do. We default to what we know. So I was recording nursery rhymes in my garden and trying to make entertaining things for children to do. But yeah, it was difficult. The BBC Education have been fantastic, and they went into overdrive to make these daily lessons for children and to put out a lot more stuff to help with online learning. So I was involved and still am involved with quite a lot of that output, which has been lovely. And I think that's been really well received by the public over here. So I made some lovely music and art lessons the other week, so they'll be going out soon, which is nice.
So you're doing a little bit of everything? It sounds
Yeah.
like you always do.
Yeah, and I think I find it a bit difficult, really, because I think sometimes people want to pigeonhole everybody, don't they? And you have to have, this is the thing that you do. And I don't really have one thing. I like to do all sorts of stuff. And I'm jack of all trades, master of none. So I find it a little bit difficult because I love a bit of gardening and I love to sing and I love to play instruments and I love to tap dance and I love to, all different things, make things. But I like that. That's what I like about life, is that it's full of all sorts of different things. But it does mean that then sometimes people don't know quite what you are. So, within children's telly it works quite well, because within children's telly you cover a lot of those subjects anyway. But moving on to do other programming, I think they want you to be sort of a specialist in one thing, and I think I'm probably not that.
Wow.
Well, it's something I learned from Barney, because I worked on both sides. So I worked on all the production, but I also did all the promotions and things like that. And I really learned sometimes the business and the creative side, there's it almost is like mud a lot of times.
Wow.
Business people understand the business side, and the creative people, it's a totally different world, right?
Yeah.
You have to have a totally different mindset to, get on screen with a snake or, any of the things you're doing.
Completely. Yeah. But yeah, the business mind is
right. So it doesn't always work.
No, exactly. No, completely not. I think that's what I could do with a lot more help. I didn't know anyone.
I remember when we got a new executive producer. I don't know, when we were doing Barney later on, and she walked on and saw me in the costume doing all this crazy jumping and stuff, and she's like, "Just keep doing that, like." You just do what you do. I don't know if I don't understand what you do, but you just do that.
Wow.
I think that's the way.
There's such a skill to it. I still remember you telling me about how you operated Barney's mouth. Did that ever change? Because didn't you have a bar?
No, it didn't.
Oh.
Wow.
It didn't change.
It didn't. No. No, they tried many times. It's a funny thing. They tried to find ways to make me cooler. They tried to find ways that, and none of that worked. I mean, they tried really hard, but it just, when something works and you've been doing it so long, you just kind of let someone go. Which I gotta imagine it's the same with you, right? You've created this formula of what you do, and you're so successful at it that I gotta think people let you do your thing.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I think, there's definite skill to what you do. Definitely. And I like to think that I've learned a thing or two over the years from doing it. And, but you're learning all the time. I still find, don't you find? I still constantly check myself and go, oh, I should have done that like that. I wish I'd done that way. But that's nice as well. I like to constantly see if I can do it better.
There's no question
Uh-huh.
about that. And it's interesting. When I was younger, it was all physical, right?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't really know what I was doing, but I could go all day, right? I could jump and run and do all these things. So my performance was made way more physical. And then as I got older and I got so much smarter because I made so many mistakes, I learned from those mistakes
Yeah.
into different performance,
Yeah.
right? Because I knew how to work the crowd and I knew how movements and I knew all those things. And I've got to think it's the same for you.
Yeah,
All the things
definitely.
you've learned over the years.
Yeah, and channel the energy in the right way, isn't it?
Right.
So you're not wasting some. Yeah, I think
Mm-hmm.
there are really a lot of really important key things you learn like that as you go along that save you a lot of time and energy, and then you have it left to use in the right places that have the right effect with the audience or whatever.
Well, and I would think like doing a show with all the animals you're talking about, it probably helps. You've been doing this for a while. When you go do something like that, because you don't know what's gonna. I mean, those are famous in America, right? All the, the late night shows, right? Jimmy Fallon and even Johnny Carson back in the days, and they always had animals on, right? Yeah. And you do that because you don't know what the animal's gonna do, and so it's always gonna be entertaining.
Yeah.
But for a host, you really got to be on top because you just don't know what's gonna happen.
No, and I think that's where, from doing it for a long time, you become slightly less scared. Because I think when you first start, you are so nervous, and that those nerves really can overtake anything else, and your mind can't think clearly.
Wow.
So I think as you do it more and more, you get more familiar with the feelings, and then you can be a bit more relaxed, and then that means you can cope with whatever is thrown at you better. I've always thought it's about reacting to things, laughing at them, and realizing that everybody watching is thinking exactly the same as you are at that moment, and everybody realizes that this is not going to plan, but that's funny rather than being terrifying. And if you look really stressed and worried about it, then I think that feeds back to the viewer and they'll feel worried on your behalf. Whereas if you can sort of laugh it off and play along with it, then I think everyone just has a bit more fun, and they normally become the most memorable parts of the program, don't they?
They do.
Go wrong.
They do. That's a really great point. That was hard for me when I was younger because when you're starting, like, you want everything to be perfect.
Yeah.
At least I did.
Yeah.
And I remember, falling the first time.
Oh.
Wow.
But it's almost worse for your ego than it is. Everyone thinks physically.
Yeah.
Are you hurt? And it's more like, well, I'm hurt, but it's not, because I just done this in front of, large amount of people.
Yeah.
Wow.
Did you learn to style it out? Did you?
I was on tour, and one of the most embarrassing moments. I was on tour, and we were doing a meet and greet for all these kids before the show, and so the dressers and the wranglers and all those people are there, right?
Wow.
So, you always like to make an appearance, make an entrance, right? So I went to run in this room, and the backstage had a chain link fence, and then there was a door. Well, I didn't know that there was a bar above the door.
Wow.
Right? So the door. So I was going through the door, and I jumped up, hit that bar, and just sent me.
Oh my
Wow.
Were you all right? Were you protected by the head?
Well, I mean, I felt it. Yeah, there's no question.
Oh, really?
It was a little painful. But my ego, I mean, and of course, all the Barney people are trying not to just lose it and laugh their head. I mean, they're obviously worried about me, but as soon as they can tell I'm okay, they're laughing so hard.
Wow.
Because they know I'm going to make a big entrance in the room. I always do that. And I mean, the kids.
You made a big entrance.
I made a big entrance.
Oh,
It's like, damn, this would make more sense because, I try to make more. I'm trying to make him more careful for Carrie. So, hope he's okay, but try to make more sense in it. Let's continue on. Anyway.
Get that.
But I think it keeps you in check, right? I think it keeps you grounded.
I guess, yeah. Oh, I've done a few falls and hurt myself and things over the years. I did one at a ski slope once, an indoor ski slope. We did a whole program of a sort of winter sports one. and I got knocked off my feet. Somebody came sledging down the hill and just caught my feet, and I went over the top of them on live telly. So that was interesting.
So what do you do when that happens? What did you do?
I just jumped out, carried on, and it was fine. It didn't hurt me too
Wow.
badly, thankfully. So yeah, just laughed it off and carried on. It was
Do you play it up? Do you act like it didn't happen?
I think within that one we were about 10 seconds before the end of the programme, so we just didn't have time to say anything and refer to it properly. It was kind of like, oh, but I'm fine. See you next week. Bye. And that was it. Gone.
What was that for?
People on the email going, is she
Wait,
okay?
what was that for? Say, see you next week. Bye. Huh? T1. Anyway.
And that was it. Gone. So you have people on the email going, is she okay?
Well, and now, I didn't have to deal with this, but you have social media.
Yeah. Well, I feel quite lucky from years ago that we didn't have it in the way that you have it now. It's intense, isn't it? It can be intense.
It can be.
But then also, I think in the same way I said children's telly people are lovely, I think on social media, everyone connected with children's telly is really kind and nice. Thankfully, I haven't really received much nasty comments or anything.
Oh, man.
I'm so lucky.
And doing this show, never.
No.
It is all about, oh my gosh, I love that person. I grew up with that person, and that person meant this to me. I mean,
That's
they get so excited when they see who's going to be on each week, and it brings back good memories. So, yeah, I mean, I was prepared for it because, I grew up with Barney. A lot of people didn't like Barney. You heard I hate Barney, and a lot of that was just because people didn't.
Yeah, that Barney bashing BS. Continue on.
Or parents that had to watch it,
Yeah.
500 times a day, but
Yeah.
like, it wasn't that they really hated Barney. It was more, a circumstance. Have you ever dealt with that? Have you had to deal with parents that go, "Oh my gosh, I have to watch you all the time," or something of that nature?
Oh yeah, a lot of that, and because Milkshake was a block that was on early in the morning, so I think actually we were a little bit of a nice babysitter early in the morning so that the parents could just close their eyes for a little bit longer while their kids watched Barney with us or whatever programs were on. So I think in many ways they were just grateful for us being there and someone else just taking the attention for a little bit of time. But yes, definitely with some of the theme tunes that go round and round, and you've heard them too many times.
Right.
Yeah. I think all parents have their favourites and their least favourites shows that their children love.
Yes. So for this audience a little bit, can you explain a little bit what Milkshake?
So Milkshake was the block of preschool programs that were shown on Channel 5 over here.
Which would have been kind of like Sunny Side Up.
Exactly that. So I came over to Philadelphia to Sunny Side Up to train up some of their presenters just before they launched. Was that in 2007 or something?
Wow.
Yeah, so I came and met
And they've almost all been on this show because I was on Sunny Side Up many times. Barney was on there many times.
With Chica, wasn't it? Is it Chica? Yeah.
Chica. So did you know Forrest? He was one of the applicators.
Kevin Yamada,
I knew Kevin, yes. And then
who else was there then? No, I can't remember.
And then Kelly.
Oh, Kelly, yes.
Yes.
That's right. Yes, so I met them.
Well, it's so funny. Now we can relate here.
Yes, just like that.
Because you talk about, what did you call it? What kind of studio, the closet?
Yeah, broom cupboard.
Broom cupboard.
Wow.
Theirs was basically a closet as well.
Wow.
Same thing. Yeah, and I think they got me over because Milkshake was I think they were trying to maybe replicate a similar kind of vibe that Milkshake had going on because we read birthday cards and sang little songs, and it was a similar sort of program, and just introducing the programs and being there to sort of connect the whole morning.
It's one of those things, and I've seen it with them and I've seen it with you, that you all make it look very easy, and it is not very easy. It's a very difficult thing to do. Can you kind of go into that a little bit? Because, I mean, it's live, it's mornings, you've got to keep them entertained, educated, I would go on those shows, and I would, I'd watch them, going, "Oh my gosh!" I mean, that's not easy.
I guess not. Yeah, I guess that's what I wanted to do, and I feel like I tried to train really hard to become proficient at it.
Right.
But yes, I guess it is, and I think, as I said earlier, the way that the more you do something, the easier it becomes. You become less nervous, and you can concentrate on different elements of it that make the job feel easier, and can concentrate on the content more rather than all the thinking of how many counts have I got left to, time this link perfectly, or, and you learn the schedule of your programs, and you learn about you end up watching all the programs, then the characters in them, and the content better, and that just all of those things make it so much easier once you've done your homework. And then it really feels like you're watching the programs with the children at home.
Makes
and
sense.
My old boss, brilliant guy called Nick Wilson. Sorry, is that yours or mine? So my old boss, he always used to say to us, just imagine you're talking to one child at home. Just picture one child in your head and just talk to them. And then I think it becomes a little bit less overwhelming, and it's far more personal, and you get that lovely touch of, hello, I'm talking to you and you're with me, and it's you and me watching this program together. And that, I think, was really great advice for that setup of program. It worked really well.
Was it scripted much, or
no, not at all? Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about.
Left to our own devices. Yeah. Which is brave of the producers, I think, to just let us go.
Wow.
I think these days it might be scripted more. I'm not sure. But yeah.
But that's how you get the best content, right?
I think so.
I think so.
And we used to just get emails in that morning, and we'd just read them instantly. So they'd come on hot off the computer, and we'd read them. So it wasn't kind of vetted through. I think there's a few more processes now that they have to go through before they get to air. Whereas those days it was just like, there it is, read it.
Right.
But it was lovely, because then you were really interacting with the kids who literally just messaged you, and were about to walk out to school to take an exam that morning or something.
That's all. Well, with Barney, when we were singing the songs on the TV show, because that there was obviously that there's a voice and that there's a body.
Yeah.
The lines obviously are, they're scripted, but when we're doing those songs, it's pre-recorded. The songs are pre-recorded, but their mics are live. So if I decide to add a jump in, they just go with it.
Oh, really?
And I think it's the same concept, right? That's what makes it fun.
Yeah.
Right? Even the directors just would, shake their head or laugh. Obviously, everything's going to be in character. But all of a sudden, I decided to do a bell kick that I had never even done in rehearsal. And he goes, makes some, stupendous. And they're like, what just happened? But, and you...
Wow. Even though stupendous, like, super-duper difference, right? My mom said it was just me. Once I told her to stop, and she's watching this, it's a stupendous difference. And then 360 degrees bed, right, which David Jory did. And if he's watching, happy belated birthday to him, but that make more sense. Continue on. Anyway.
I'll get you later, and it just happened. I just felt it, and I had to do it, and I knew he could follow me. But I think that's what really makes it so interesting, doing TV like that.
Yeah, and less repetitive then, so every time you see it, it's slightly different, which is nice for those parents who are going, I've heard this 48 times this morning.
Wow.
Right. So I'm really curious, what did you find the difference from working kids TV in the UK and then coming over to the US? What did you see different? Coming to our set, you kind of see the things we do, and then obviously with Sunny Side Up.
I think with American children's telly, I think you may, I don't know how to say this so that it doesn't sound rude, but I think you're always more, you'll embrace cheese way more willingly than British people. I think British people are a little bit,
Wow.
like, your Barney and the sentiment of all the love and all those things, it's fantastic. But I think British people can be a bit like, oh, it can be a bit much.
Wow.
Not children. I don't think children are, because children are spot on. But I think sometimes the adults can be
Wow.
a little bit put off by more cheesy side of things, which I think Americans do it brilliantly, because they are way more supportive. They will whoop and cheer for each other and whereas we'll be a bit more sit down and process, you know, I'll clap you if I think it's worth it. Americans are so much more enthusiastic and give compliments and give encouragement so much more freely than I think British people do. And I think that's the difference in children's telly as well. I just think you go for it full out. And I love that about it. And I wish we did it better over here.
That's fascinating. I think a lot of it had to do with the parents seeing how the kids were reacting to it when we're talking about Barney, right? Because Barney was different in the fact, in no aspect did we try to entertain the adults.
Yeah.
Right? Sesame Street tries to entertain adults, and a lot of those,
Yes.
especially now, you see more of that. There was no aspect of that with Barney. This was all for the kids.
Yes.
But I think the parents started seeing it. When I toured, I absolutely saw it. Right, where you could see the dad, you know, that had to get up at 5 a.m. and load up the kids and then get the stroller and get to the, you know, and he's sitting there at 11 o'clock on a Saturday morning watching this big purple dinosaur that's only entertaining kids.
Wow.
I mean, there's no aspect of that show for adults.
Yeah.
And then at the end, when we're singing the I Love You song and the child leans over and kisses dad, now everything's worth it. Now, absolutely everything is worth it when the child looks over and says, I love you, Dad, and kisses you.
Yeah.
Wow.
This is why we did all this stuff. So
Exactly.
they were at least patient enough, you know, because I know I could see it. You know, the beautiful thing about being in a purple costume,
Yeah.
especially with no social media, I could go out there, right? I could go before a show and be walking around the audience.
Wow.
No one knew who that guy was.
Yeah.
No one had, and then after the show too, right? I'm walking out with the audience. They're going, oh my gosh, that was wonderful, or, you know, or whatever. Boy, he looked a little off today, whatever it may be.
Wow.
But you get that, and I think that was cool, and I think you've seen more of that.
Yeah. But I think in
kids-
every way, as the world becomes, you know, we're so much more connected. Look at us now, like we could have done this years ago. And I think the way we have been connected better means that we're getting better at becoming more positive and enthusiastic in a nice American way. I think we're doing it better than we used to. Same as sporting events. When I've come over to sporting, you know, I came to watch basketball in the US, and I loved it. It was absolutely amazing. And then when some of the NBA teams came over to play at the O2 in London, I went to see that as well. The atmosphere was completely different because we didn't, you know, there's a lot of people who either didn't understand the rules properly or just didn't come with the same level of enthusiasm and volume in their support. Over there, it's like so exciting. Oh my gosh, I loved it.
So do you know who the Philadelphia 76ers are?
Yeah.
Okay. So Barney got asked to go out on the court during a game. So it was
Wow. T1.
commercial break, and go out and hand out T-shirts to kids.
Did you have that thing?
They had one of those, but they put some ones in my hand. So it's sold out. There's 18,000 people. And you hear them start playing Barney's theme song, and they said, it's Barney the Dinosaur. 18,000 people booed me.
Wow.
Absolutely boo. It was the craziest thing. As I'm running onto the court, all the basketball players are there, and I'm getting booed. So I'm jumping and
booed? Seriously?
and doing my thing, and I see this little girl, and I go in the audience, and I hand her a T-shirt, and she hugs Barney and kisses Barney, and all 18,000 people start cheering.
Wow. Adorable.
That is the coolest thing that I've ever seen, and that's what kids entertainment, and that's the power. Of what we do. It's seeing that good. And I really
I
want
like the whole entire, let's just say, the chicken mascot passing over the bar and saying, "Oh, right, none of the above." I don't like that thing where it's only thinking Barney's hit by a fight the chicken. Like, the hell? But this, the little girl hugging Barney thing, that was adorable. Continue on.
about this because I've seen this, and I just think it's so important. When we were doing that back in the 90s, all the talking love and all of those things, it was hard for people, right? It's hard, when a grown man comes up and says, "I love you," and wants nothing. It's nothing more than just a sentiment of positivity. And then all of a sudden, these days, people are more comfortable with that.
Yeah.
People are more comfortable hugging, and it means nothing more than that. And
Yeah,
caring for people and telling people. Have you seen?
it makes sense because it has to be more different than that. Carrie, that's exactly right because Barney is more of love. Mine's the same. My comment is the same way. Peace, love, and kindness. That's the purpose of that. Continue on.
Yeah, I think the whole be kind wave on social media, I think people are aware of it. I don't know how much, there's still a lot of nastiness and
Yeah.
unkindness put online. I think people just don't ever seem to be aware that the comments they make impact people badly, and they might think it's just such a throwaway thing. So I wish that would change a little bit. But I do think, like you say, people are so much more aware of it now. I think it's talked about so much more, and I think we all know that our mental health needs to be looked after as well as our physical health, and I think we're all finding so many more tools of how to be able to do that. And at least with Google now, we can all search for help and find it quite easily.
Wow.
To know, okay, I'm struggling with this.
Right.
This is potentially a solution, or I can try and do this and see if it works for me. I think there's a lot more help like that, which is great, and that's really come about quite in a short space of time, don't you think? It's only been in the last, 5 years, would you say?
I would say I do. I totally agree with that, and I think you have seen that. It's one of the reasons I wanted to do this is because every week we have someone on that's just positive. This is just about
exactly positive. Thank you.
Okay.
And I think also children's entertainment changed my absolute life because of the kids.
Yeah.
I have learned so much from kids. It's the most incredible thing. It's the most incredible thing.
And I think because you're permanently trying to think like a child, you're always trying to get into their world and try and understand everything that you're presenting, posting from their level, and go, will this make sense? Am I saying this in a way that they will get? And you're always having to just take yourself to, what did I know at that age? What was I aware of? And will this make sense? Or do I need to explain this more clearly, or go about it in a completely different way?
But they surprise you, and that's the part that I was never prepared for. When they all of a sudden come up and they hug you, or they have drawn a picture, or they say something that's so, I was talking to someone the other day, and they were talking about a kid, what do you want to be when you grow up? And the kid said, a friend.
Yeah.
I just want to be a good friend to someone.
Yeah, how much you gonna feel like that? How you gonna grow up to be a friend? Dude, what's that supposed to mean? Come on.
And of course, their parent was like, that's incredible.
Lord us all.
That's incredible, right? So kids are amazing, and I learned it so many times that you would see these things. What have you learned from kids and entertaining kids over these years?
Oh, I understand that now. Continue on. Anyway.
That they're really honest, that they tell you exactly what they think. And that's another really helpful way, I think, to move forward with what you make next, because you have to take it on board. They'll give you criticism, but in a really helpful way, because they'll just let you know what didn't make sense or what they didn't like, so that you can adapt and change next time. And obviously, you wouldn't just take one child's point of view and change your whole show. You have to get a wide range of opinions. But I love that they're honest.
Okay.
I love that they tell you like it is, and they tell you what they don't like. That's helpful. I think as adults, we'd probably be better off if we did do it a little bit more honestly sometimes. You know, I think actually it's more helpful sometimes to be completely honest with people, but it is hard.
Wow.
And maybe because it comes from children, it is that powerful voice that adults do listen to, which maybe as adults we become a bit more closed off to being receptive to those opinions. But I think when children speak, adults listen.
Well, and that's interesting because, you know, kids are so open and the creativity and all that, and it seems to go away when you become an adult.
Yeah.
You and I have escaped that, right? Because I had no problem being a silly purple dinosaur, and you obviously had no problem showing the world silliness and fun.
Exactly.
How does that happen? How were you able to go, you know, I don't care, I'm having fun and I'm just gonna do this? And...
Oh, that's a good question. Because it's something I've always said about my job. It's like I've got no pride. I just haven't. I've worn every costume. I've dressed up as everything.
Sure. Wow.
I don't care really what I look like on camera. You know, I've been covered in mud. I've been gunged a billion times. I've pied in the face. All these things that you do, or you've been working a whole, you know, really, really long day, and at the end of the day, you've still got to film an item, and you've been up on the mountain, or I don't know. Anyway. So I've always felt like I'm not bothered too much, but why have I done that? Why have I felt that it's I think because I want children to feel like it's okay to be silly, and it's good to laugh at yourself. It's good to kind of be free, to be silly. Can be really good fun and
makes sense.
Make you really happy. And I think, like you said, when adults lose those things, if they can re-find them, if it's something that they love doing as a kid and they just haven't done it for ages, and then they go back to it, which I think actually quite a lot of adults did during COVID and during lockdowns. So they rediscovered some of those old hobbies. And I think hobbies can bring such joy and such a distraction from any mental health issues or anything else that's going on in your life. That I think if you can keep tapping into those things that you know as a child made you really happy and keep doing them as an adult, it will bring happiness in your grown-up life too. That's what I think.
I think that's great advice. I think that that is it the fact that society kind of tells us it feels that way, right? That's not okay. You know, now you're an adult, you can't be silly, you can't be all those things. Yeah, we have responsibilities in those things, but you know, life is so much better if you're just having fun.
I know. I guess we're very, very fortunate that we've had jobs where we get the freedom to do that. So that's why I tell everybody to work in children's entertainment, because then you can do it.
Wow. Exactly.
It's fine. It's all kind of accepted.
No question.
No question asked. Exactly.
Things outside, you know, commercials and things like that, and it's just not as much fun.
No. Never as much fun.
I mean, how can you not have fun with a big purple dinosaur? It's not possible.
Exactly.
You know, even when I toured it, we were with a bunch of these rough and gruff, you know, roadies and things like that. Yeah. All of them.
Were they like singing in the wings?
Well, all of a sudden, you know, they start seeing the kids' reactions and all those things. And it's totally different. It's just how can you not love that?
Yeah.
What has been your favorite thing you've done? I'm just going to put you right on the spot.
Wow.
Oh, I've been so lucky. I really have. I mean, getting the opportunities to come and meet people like you and Bear.
Wow.
Yeah, Noami, a good friend of this show.
Yeah, and I met Kevin Clash. Elmo came over.
Wow, okay.
Elmo on Milkshake. And so I've had those amazing opportunities where I've got to meet people and travel. I've done a lot of travel, which I also have absolutely loved. I've been to all sorts of places that I wouldn't ever have taken myself on holiday. I think it's just having been doing it for so long is the best thing. I think I just feel so fortunate to have had a career that's just carried on for so long and to have literally seen a whole generation of children grow up to now become adults, and I've carried on in different programs, but throughout their whole child, when they're little, right through to when they're teens and beyond. I feel really honoured that that's been my life. That's been great.
What's next?
I don't know.
Wow.
I hope to carry on making stuff for children. I'm working on a project at the minute all about music history for children. We're making a little program, me and a little animated character, a little composer. We're taking children through the history of music, so I'm making that at the minute. I've got a big tap dance event coming up in the UK, which will be really exciting, where we hopefully will get all the tap dancers around the country all doing one big event. So various things going on, but hopefully more of the drama.
But it sounds like children's entertainment's in your blood.
I want to keep doing it. Yeah, I really do. I really hope I can keep doing it forever.
Well,
I get it. It's there's just something about it that there are aspects I definitely miss doing it. There's just something. I think all your stress and strife in life and everything goes away while you're doing that, right? There's nothing you focus on but just happiness.
Yeah. What are you doing next? I mean, obviously one of these.
This is going strong. I ended up falling in love with this. The first was I actually did 23 part. It was all just Barney people.
Wow.
And so it was called Purple Tales. There was a podcast with just Barney people.
Which I did react to those and those react before. Continue on.
Realized that so many people like you have had these experiences I've had, and I want to talk to everyone I could. So it has turned out to be just the most incredible. I learn something every week, and I just absolutely love it. And I'm also a photographer, so I do a lot of photography.
Which I did react to Purple Road's podcast. Continue on, anyway.
As well. So, who knows? What I have learned is just, if you have a plan, it's not going to, I stopped planning a long time ago.
Yeah, there's no point making one, is there? Just let it take you.
Right. I never thought I'd be doing this. And it's it's just so much fun. And my family just laughs because they're like, who are you talking to this? I've talked to Mickey Mouse and Big Bird and you name it. And they just like, oh my gosh. I told them this morning, they were going to school. I'm going to England in 10 minutes. So.
Wow.
It's so cool, your community. I love it. We should set one big WhatsApp group of all your friends.
Well, it's such an inspiring. I mean, I come off of this every week just like ready to attack the world again.
Wow.
There's so much positivity and and you learn so much from everyone. I've learned so much from you today.
Wow.
Yeah, I've already watched some of yours, but I'm gonna catch up on the Purple Tales ones for sure.
Well, that one's, if you want to see, that one's interesting because we get a lot of the kids that used to be on the show.
Oh, no way!
And I just interviewed one the other day she's now pregnant. She's married and has.
Wow, which I did react to those and those reacts a year ago. Continue on.
And she's going to become a nurse, and it's fascinating. It's fascinating.
I'll recognise them all, won't I? Because we watched every episode hundreds of times over here,
They come on, and one of them from the early days, he's now a lawyer here in Fort Worth.
Well, which I did react to it before. If you look back in those react episodes, let's say 300 something, I did outtake before on Hey and Tweaky, something like that. And if you pronounce her last name, sorry. Taylor, my stepbrother, talked about this, and he said, in one of those outtakes I did for this episode of LJPCBM, he's like, hello, I'm like, cut, come on. And I'm like, stop recording. He's like, hello, this is Joe speaking. He's like, hello, I'm like, cut, man. And I stopped recording. And all of a sudden, just blow my mind and gotta get another take. And did not know what's going on. I was going to do a LJPCBM episode saying welcome to LJPCBM, but not 1,000 at the time. It was 300 something ish. I don't know the episode number at the time. I uploaded some of these on Vimeo at the time. Back then it was called Vimeo, and then another place called Air Archive. And then I use it, and nowadays I started doing LJPCBM episodes now on YouTube. Thanks to nowadays called Lucas Invasion Visuals, who suggested me to do LJPCBM episodes. If you watch this, Lucas Invasion Visuals, for you, shout out goes out to him. The Invasion company name, because he wants me to focus on LJPCBM. Because I wanted to focus on shout out to the Invasion name rather than the old name. I don't want to do that anymore, because it's gonna go, because he said not to do that anymore. But anyway, continue on.
But they are just lovely, and it's fascinating to hear their perspective.
Yeah.
It's absolutely fascinating. What was in your, when a big purple dinosaur is running around and dancing, and a lot of them said, we just wanted to play. We just wanted to have fun.
Oh my gosh. Well, they must be like, that was a dream to be in that as a kid. Surely they must have loved it.
Yeah, it's fascinating. It's fascinating.
Oh, that's
I could
great.
talk to you all day, Naomi.
I'm going to send you a clip of when I came to see you as Barney
Okay.
as well.
Wow.
I'm going to dig one out and send it to you. Probably be really poor quality from a VHS, but I'll send you a clip anyway.
Wow. Okay, continue on.
I have so many VHS tapes, so don't worry. I understand.
Wow.
Awful. And then I'm like, what do I do with all of these? They take up so much space.
Yes. My problem is that I've got two teenagers here at this house, and
Wow.
my gosh, you can
I
imagine
know.
how they make fun of me.
But like I got a little clip of one of the VHSs the other day and I put it on TikTok and it's gone a bit.
Oh,
Like, it's-
TikTok? Oh yeah, which I don't use TikTok that much anymore. Continue on.
I've got a lot of
Well,
interest. from-
actually, never mind. I have TikTok original. I don't use TikTok, but I now going back to TikTok and say hello guys, hello TikTok, this is Jerry speaking, blah blah. Then I had to upload something on TikTok, and I want to do bedtime stories on that, but I realized nothing happened yet. Excuse me, continue on.
the other day and I put it on TikTok and it's gone a bit. Like it seems to have got a lot of interest from, I guess, everyone who watched it when they were little are now 20 and on TikTok. I was like, oh, maybe I should dig out a few more clips from these VHSs.
Wow.
Get them all on TikTok. Anyway,
Well, send that over, and
I will.
we won't wait 20 years to talk.
I hope not.
We
I
will
really
not.
hope not.
It's just
It's
been
been
such a
lovely
pleasure.
Thanks for inviting me.
Oh my gosh. It's a pleasure.
Send my love to all the team. If you still see them, send my love to everybody.
I do. I talk to a
Wow.
lot of them. Jeff and Kyle that Baby Bop and BJ, I
Yeah.
see them and hang with them all the time.
Wow.
Well, send them my love.
I will do that. They will be through. They haven't changed one bit. They're just
Really?
not one bit. Not one. Well, maybe a little gray hair.
Yeah.
Wow. Which I did react to those before, so many times in LGB, so a few times in LGB. Continue on. Anyway.
Guess we'll-
Well, good
Oh,
luck to you with everything you're doing. Thank you so much for being on.
my pleasure. Thank you.
And thank you for watching Purple Roads. Remember to keep your eyes, ears, and your heart open, and you'll find your Purple Road. We'll see you next week.
So that was Purple Roads Podcast, episode number 102. Noami Wilkinson, television presenter of Milkshake. What I think about this episode? I think it was amazing. So far, this episode was a success. That was one episode of LJPCBM episode 1102. 1,542. Excuse me, okay, right. Hope you enjoyed. Today is going to be LJPCBM 1,543, which will be about Purple Roads Podcast, episode number 543. I misput the numbers wrong in the last portion. Anyway, which is going to be about camera operator Barney Friends, which is Bruce Booby Harmon, Purple Roads Podcast, episode number 103. Till next time, so Jonas Box, baby. We go out to be so say out. See ya.
Given unto me this life I'll never take for granted, and given all the time I failed to really understand it, I never sought to meet the maker of reality, the one who gave the life that which is always happening, but I tried all the time. Why was I the one to see things as I do under the moonlight and the sun? Perception is the question and the giver holds the key, but the only worth I've ever found was in melody. I still try